This calls to order the Monday, October 28th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting. First item of business is approval of the meeting minutes from the meeting held on September 30th, 2024. Is there any discussion or a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes as written.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Motion is approved. Next item of business is item 2, old business. There is none. Moving on, item 3, new business. Item A, site plan review for 5700 Belinda Road, Fairway, Kansas, as submitted by Alan Regenhausen of Black & Veatch Corporation on behalf of Johnson County Wastewater, property owner. Request for an addition with site improvements and exception request to green space, size, and number of trees for street frontage and generator pad size and combustion fuel. Basil, will you please provide your staff report?
Yes, I'll let my report stand as submitted, and part of the application is there is an attached letter. They're seeking the immunity, and part of their staff is not opposed to the exception requests, and we recommend approval.
I was going to ask a question. Does the county own the land? Is that why they're exempt from the city requirements?
That is correct.
Okay. All right, any questions for staff? Any discussion?
Did the applicant want to make a presentation?
Well,
or-
do we have questions for the applicant?
No.
I mean, if we have,
I wanted to give them their chance.
if we have questions and you wanna quiz them, we can, but I mean, I guess I would ask that if we have any questions, we first bring them forward so that they can present those answers.
Well, the thing that I've always wished down at the pumping station is that they would have more trees, but they've discussed that in here and seem to have some reasonable answers to why they don't. I guess I can't argue with it, but it seems like there used to be more trees and they just died out one at a time and they were never replaced.
Would you please state your name and address for the record?
Oh, it's green, all right. Hello, Commission, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate you guys hearing us. My name is Alex Zerwinski. I'm the Managing Engineer of Treatment and Pumping in the Engineering Group for Johnson County Wastewater. The address is 11811 South Sunset Drive, Olathe, Kansas, 66061. And so the question was about trees at the Belinda Pump Station property. And looking back at the historical satellite imagery, you can see different trees at different points in time. Back in 1968, we commissioned the wet weather part of that pump station. There's a large underground facility that stores and treats wet weather flows. And that takes up a majority of the front yard space, that green space that we have in that front yard. There's really only about, the minimal cover, about 2 to 3 feet of cover above that storage tank. So there's really not much room for tree growth, for tree roots over top of that tank. As part of the plan, working with Black & Veatch, our engineer of record, we've identified some locations on the east side of the property along Belinda Avenue where there's an area where we can plant some additional trees there. Now, unfortunately, 3 trees on the property will have to be removed as part of this building expansion. That's just because they are in the way of that building expansion. Part of this expansion itself was made with a presence to push the building further away from the residents and not toward the backyard. We wanted to preserve that buffer in the backyard as much as possible. We know that green space in the backyard is appreciated by the neighbors in that area. So we wanted to push the expansion out to the front, to the southeast and southwest on the property. And that pushes us to where those trees currently are. So the 3 trees will be coming down, but like we mentioned in the packet, we will install or plant 4 different trees in place. That's what we think we can fit in that green space where there's no underground storage tank, where there's no underground utilities, and also it won't be in the floodway, which half of that front yard area is in the floodway right now.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you. Push the button again.
No, you do leave it on.
Okay.
Thank you. Reminder, we're discussing exception to green space, size and number of trees for the street frontage, and the generator pad size.
And the fuel type.
And the combustion fuel, thank you.
Well, I would say I'm pleased that they made the effort to make it look almost the same, if not identical to the one that was there, and keep the residential look to it, to fit into the neighborhood better. They're a little over the green space, but they have a giant front yard. I'm not bothered by that. And they have a huge generator, which probably would not operate well on natural gas. So I don't have any problems with it.
I agree. I think given the application of this structure and the property and stuff, I think our general thoughts on some of these exceptions probably don't apply.
Any other comments? No comments, would someone want to make a motion?
I would make a motion that we approve the plans as submitted and grant the exception for the green space, the fuel type, and what was the other one?
Generator
The
Generator
generator pad
and
size,
the number of trees.
and number of
and the
trees.
number of trees.
Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Next item of business is item B, site plan review for 5531 Norwood Road, as submitted by Scott Codingsdorf of Koenig Building and Restoration, property owner, request for a new single-family residence. Basil, will you please provide your staff report?
Yes, I'll let my report stand as submitted, and staff does recommend approval of the application.
Is there any questions for staff?
I do have one question. And on the site plan, there's one little area up in the upper right corner of that building that's red. What, was that some change in the, or why is that red?
Would you please state your name and address for the record?
Scott Koenigsdorf, 4722 West 68th Street, Prairie Village, Kansas. On the northeast corner of the foundation in red, that is going to be a 1 foot taller stem wall in the top of the foundation, so that we were trying to keep the house at about the same height as the previous home. And since it drains back to front, the floor joist will go into a pocket that's in the top of the wall. So the rest of the foundation's 9 foot, that portion's 10 foot.
Okay.
Is that, also on the site plan, is that a correct dimension that the front door is 9 foot 6'7" from the front of the garage? The 7 plus 2.67? And our limit is 8, is that correct?
8.
Sorry, I ask this every time.
No, you're
Is
right.
it the, it's the threshold of the door? Is that where it's measured to?
So that would need an exception.
The ordinance is 8 foot, correct?
Yeah.
We're sure. Okay, sorry about that.
If you had to make it 8 foot, would you, is there options to reducing the garage?
There is. I'd have to look at it, whether we reduce the garage or just the front porch. But that's doable.
Okay. Other questions for the applicant?
I was just gonna ask if, can we see like a elevation view of the front? I just wanna see what the actual porch structure looks like.
I think it's on the bottom of this.
Yeah. Because sometimes depending, sometimes depending on what that looks like, we're kind of like, well, it kind of looks like an entryway that's further out, but in this case, it doesn't really, so.
Yeah, I kind of have mixed feelings there. I mean, I do like to stay with the 8 feet, but that porch looks like it's only 5, 6, 7 feet. And if they move that out 2 feet, it's gonna be a pretty tiny little porch.
Well, right now it's 7 feet, right?
I think it's 7, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's 7. Just right at 7. So we're 7, 8, 9. Foot and a half left.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it either. In some instances, like you mentioned, Rourke, I mean, it does have like a roof over it as opposed to it just being a flat door where it's really far set
Yeah,
back.
that's where, like, I think going back to kind of like what the intent of the rule is so that you don't have a garage sticking way out in front of the rest of the house, which isn't really what this looks like, you know, so I'm not sure I'm really opposed to it either, but.
Are the columns, where are the front columns of that porch in plan?
No, we didn't see the plan. I don't know.
No plan in there.
Well, I guess I'm just asking him, like, where are they on the plan?
I think you can see it in the elevation.
They're on the leading edge of that front stoop.
So they're the 7 foot out from the,
That's correct.
Okay.
They're at 7 foot or no further, and the one is engaged with the garage, and the other one's on the outside corner.
so in that case, they're 2.67 feet back from the face of the garage. So I guess I could be okay with that as well.
Or a usable porch and something that's just sort of tacked in there.
Well, I mean, it comes out like that,
Yeah.
to me, that kind of like meets the intent of it, I think, so I don't have a problem with that, really.
Other questions for the applicant? Thanks.
I'd make a motion, we approve the plans at 5531 Norwood Street with the exception of allowing a larger than 8 foot setback from the front door.
Is there a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Next item is item C, 6115 Catalina Street, Fairway, Kansas, is submitted by Adam Pfeiffer of APT Studios on behalf of Matt Adams Development Company Incorporated, property owner, requests for a new single-family residence. Basil, will you please provide your staff report?
Again, I'll let my report stand as submitted, and staff recommends approval of the project. And I'm open to questions.
Any questions for staff?
No, I think it looks fine. I'd even compliment the designer that it even has a flair for looking like an original Fairway house. unlike so many of the new ones that don't.
If no questions or comments, would someone want to make a motion?
I'd make a motion that we approve the plan submitted for 6115 Catalina Drive.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Next item of business is item 4, additional business. The next meeting date is actually going to be December 30th. We didn't have any applications, so we decided to cancel November, and happy holidays, you get a day off. And then last item of business would be a motion, well, is there anything else to discuss before we move to adjourn? Okay. Last item of business is a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.